Mickey 17 is the latest Bong Jo Ho movie starring Robert Pattinson. He plays a guy named Mickey Barnes who's down on his luck, has no other options but to sign up to be an expendable.
Hey, yo, Mickey, you wanna be an expendable? I make you 17 of them, Mickey.
Not that kind of expendable, but that was pretty good, right? No, instead he signs up for a program where he's allowed to be cloned every time he dies, mainly being used as a guinea pig to test various poisons, illnesses, and do the dangerous jobs other people can't do. And well, that's all. Pretty much without any spoilers to you guys, this will be a spoiler-free review. I was really looking forward to this movie. I remember when the first teaser trailers came out and it painted a picture of a very serious sci-fi movie. And then the first official trailer came out and I think a lot of us took a step back, put our eyebrow up and went, huh? Because it felt like the tone had completely shifted. Robert Pattinson is now doing this really nasally, goofy voice. The music and imagery of all we were being shown felt like the movie was going to be much more of a comedy than a sci-fi thriller. But even though it did take me by surprise, that unexpected tone really actually made me more excited for the movie, especially since I know Bong Jo Ho, this director, has made some pretty great movies in the past. Loved Parasite, and that is the film that won him an Oscar, so he's definitely earned our trust and to see what he's cooking. And well, having seen the movie, checked it out, watched it all for myself, I enjoyed it, but I don't think it's as great as some of his other works. I'm gonna get into the good, and then I'm gonna get into the stuff I'm really mixed and negative about with this movie. For one, undeniable still, Bong Jo Ho is a really talented director. This is a beautiful looking movie with a lot of great sci-fi world building. This isn't just a world where cloning is possible and you can just replicate yourself over and over. No, there's also a bunch of little other things that make this a heightened reality. And it's very obvious at times during the movies that this is trying to be a dystopian version of our future. Mark Ruffalo plays this one tech billionaire that also is trying to have a political career but is failing, and all the things associated with Mark Ruffalo's character, not even subtle, man. You can obviously tell who they're trying to poke fun at and what they're trying to mimic with our real world. But putting those political undertones aside for a second, it was the sci-fi world building that was keeping me so invested and interested with everything going on, because they did bring up a lot of moral dilemmas involved with cloning, but also the benefits and how it could be used for society. It should also be absolutely no surprise that Robert Pattinson gives an awesome performance in this movie. It is still so amazing how far he's come in his career, and now we just expect nothing but greatness from this man. And I'm not just saying that because he played Batman, okay? Maybe it's because he played Batman. No, but joking aside, like, it takes some talent to do an entire performance in this goofy, weird voice, and us as a viewer to totally buy into that new person and not just go, that's just Robert Pattinson having a funny voice, man. And I really do think that voice was an interesting turn that I ended up really enjoying. And that's something to say because a good chunk of this movie is narrated by Robert Pattinson's character of Mickey. And the movie actually puts in a lot of effort for you to care about this person and how they ended up in a situation where they'd happily sign up to be an expendable, someone who's just gonna die over and over. The humor of the film was also something that ended up just making it much more entertaining. It's that tone that we weren't expecting. I thought this was maybe just going to be more of a straight up serious thriller, but I actually enjoyed some of the goofy comedic relief in there, and especially with some of the darker tones where it seems like it's really trying to be satire into where our society could be headed or where it is right now. That absurd nature was a little bit more comforting, because yes, I go to these movies sometimes to escape things going out in the real world, and this movie sometimes hits a little too close to home. So throwing in a scene where like Robert Pattinson's character is just drawing stick figures in different sex positions, that made me laugh with my bucket of popcorn. And so really, it was like about 70-60%. It was a little over the halfway mark of the movie. I was still fully invested, loving the sci-fi direction, the characters we were being introduced to, the moral dilemmas, and then it just started to fall off, leading me to the things I'm mixed to negative about with this movie. I think the biggest detriment of Mickey 17 is that it's juggling way too many ideas and it doesn't know how to blend them together, or it just can't decide on which one to focus more on. Like I said, big part of the movie is focusing on Mickey, showing us his life, how he ended up in this situation, then expanding on the sci-fi cloning aspect of this movie, the ethical dilemmas involved with that, how it could be used for society, where it goes, oh, there's this political figure. Are they abusing their power? Is this right? How is anybody following their lead? And then there's like 3 other random little subplots that are dedicated a lot of time to. I enjoyed the romantic relationship that Robert Pattinson and Naomi Aki had throughout the movie, but there is so much screen time that is just segmented and dedicated to that. It takes away from some of these other bigger ideas. Same thing with the subplot involving how Robert Pattinson and his friend, played by Steven Yeun, ended up on this ship. They're trying to escape somebody they owe a lot of money to, and it's like, okay, that was a good motivator to put them on the ship, but it's a storyline that keeps coming up, interrupts the main flow, and they just keep adding on to it. There's also another character named Kai Katz where they try to throw in this like love triangle thing last minute, but that ends up really going nowhere. Probably the biggest unexpected subplot that ended up taking the most time at the end were these creepy worm creatures they just refer to as creepers that are native to this planet that Mickey and his colony are trying to take over. And the movie is then again just about, is it right to migrate to someone else's land, take over their resources just so we could have a better life? Honestly felt like Bong Jo Ho was throwing in elements from his other film Okja, and really just when it was all coming said and done, all these different ideas and juggling things at the screen, it just started to feel like a mess. And when I just couldn't figure out the focus and where everything was trying to land, it just started making me lose interest in the movie, and I was just more sitting back going, all right, I can't even predict where this is headed now. You just play it out the way you want to, movie. I will say, though, a lot of this stuff doesn't like ruin or make this film a disaster for me. Instead, just takes something that was headed on the route of excellency to just okay or good. There's still a lot of enjoyable, fun things about Mickey 17, and just again going back to Robert Pattinson, his performance, and when he ends up being doubly cloned and becoming a multiple. You know, Robert Pattinson playing 2 roles side by side, that was done pretty seamlessly in the movie. And Mickey 18, the other Robert Pattinson clone, ended up becoming a really dark version, where that version of him ended up using his Batman voice a couple times in the movie, so like, that's a bonus. So for Mickey 17, I'm gonna give action 2.5 stars. It's actually a lot more exposition and building into this sci-fi world. Like, there is so much time dedicated to Mickey just telling you things of this universe. And while that's usually a lazy form of storytelling, it was actually done in a way where it made me interested in this world they were building. Comedy in the movie, I'm gonna give it 2.5 stars. I really kind of appreciated the goofy, wacky tone. It never went overboard to me, but instead carried a tone of satire throughout. Drama in the movie, I'm gonna give it 3 stars. It started off really strong, love the ethical dilemma and some of the things where it was pointing a mirror up to society, but it really just started to lose me in the end with a lot of those ideas not feeling fully balanced or connected. Horror in the movie, I'll give 1.5 star too, mainly for the creepy creatures and the different death scenes that Robert Pattinson's character gets. And suspense in the movie, I'm gonna give it 2.5 stars. Unfortunately, with it losing steam towards the ending half, where a lot of the climactic moments are coming to a point and the movie had just started to lose me, I just didn't feel all that invested into what they were doing. Casual moviegoers, I'm gonna give this a C+. I think this is gonna be a movie much more appreciated by film fanatics. I think casual viewers will go into this thinking it's just a really odd mess of a movie. Cinephiles, I'm gonna give it a B-, and critically, I'm going to give it a B-. For me, Mickey 17 is a perfect example of a disappointing day at the office from an Oscar-winning director, because the film still ends up being good, just doesn't match the heights of what you expect from their previous work, so I think it's worth watching in theaters. Honestly, though, I was kind of hoping this would probably be my first favorite movie of the year, but it didn't exactly go there. I still liked it and enjoyed it, but I didn't wind up loving it the way I wanted to. Want to hear from you guys. What did you think of Mickey 17 if you got around to seeing it? Anything and everything, be sure and like, subscribe. But as always, I'm Chris. Take care.